the world of sales and sales leadership, we have a problem. Salesforce retention is the biggest problem facing your company. You see, 10 years ago, the average tenure for a sales professional for one company was 3 years. 2 years ago, in 2018, that number had dipped down to 18 months. That means the average tenure for a sales professional for any given company is 18 months. And I would argue that you fully don't understand what you're doing in your sales role for the first 6 to 9 months anyways. Why are people leaving companies to go to a different company? That problem is one of the most expensive problems facing companies today. You have a sales force that you can't retain, and it's a talent war. There are so many opportunities for sales professionals to land great jobs that they're always going to be a valuable asset. I was once on a podcast recently, and the host said sales is a high income skill, and that is the truth. As a sales professional, you have a high income skill, and you're always going to be a valuable resource. But as a sales leader and as a sales manager, it's your job to retain your sales team. So how do we do that more effectively? How do we increase that Salesforce retention from 18 months back to 3 years, back to longer time? I think it's a 3-part strategy: vision, development, and gratitude. And I'm going to briefly touch on them in this blog and try to keep it short. Number one, if you want to increase your Salesforce or increase your Salesforce retention, you have to be able to sell a vision. You have to create a vision where the person working with you sees them with you for the long term. They buy into the vision you paint. It could be you're going to be the most dynamic sales team in your company. You're going to be the most dynamic sales team in your industry. You're going to make the most amount of money in the next 2 years because you're going to be here with me, and we are going to excel at levels you could only imagine. If you aren't painting a vision and you aren't following through on that vision, people will leave. A vision is simply the belief that your sales team has in you as the sales leader. The second part to improving your retention with your sales force is development. Now, every company says we develop our sales leader. It's boring, actually. And I've seen it at a million companies. I've heard stories. I've experienced it firsthand. I've had colleagues share with me firsthand their experiences. Developing sales leaders, developing people isn't saying, hey, I'm going to develop you and I want you to be on my future leaders program, or I'm going to put you on this awesome group of potential managers. That development is for satisfying the company's need to development. A company needs to have the next level of sales managers. They need to have the next level of sales executives. And that does come from within, and that does come from developing your people. But that development alone isn't going to increase your Salesforce retention. When I'm talking about development, I'm talking about a personal level of development. And here's a few examples. If you want to have Salesforce retention, you develop people to be their best version of themselves. 2 areas that I personally utilize: finances and real estate. If I have somebody in my organization who's making a significant amount of money, I ensure that they fully understand how money works and how they can make their money grow and work for them, and how they can utilize their money to have passive streams of income. I'm going to develop this person as a phenomenal person, regardless of the company they work for. Or real estate. If you have someone in your organization who's making money but doesn't understand the real estate process, help them out. Get them connected with somebody. Teach them. Share with them. Develop your sales force to be phenomenal people in life, not phenomenal people just for your organization. Now, there is an argument that you need to have both, and I tend to agree with that. However, I see a lot of sales leaders ignore personally developing people outside of work. It could be as simple as, hey, man, I'm a great hunter. I'm going to teach you to be a great hunter, and I'm going to help you develop that skill outside of sales. When you spend time with people and you develop them to be the best version of themselves, you find a little bit more retention. And the last one, the most important one, in my opinion, is gratitude. You have to express a level of gratitude that your people who work for you know you are in debt to them for their hard work. And this can come in the form of many ways. We all do a really good job at acknowledging and expressing gratitude to top performers. That's easy. But I'll tell you one thing. The cost of turnover is significantly higher than bottom performers. Now, there is a point in time where you have to get rid of somebody in your organization. That's not what I'm discussing. What I'm discussing is everybody on your team needs to feel appreciated for the work that they do. Now, you don't need to send these massive cards or stickers or smiley faces, but a genuine note of appreciation sometimes comes in the form of a 2-minute, 3-minute conversation. This is where you call every person on your team and simply thank them for the hard work they're doing. This is when you send an unexpected small token of appreciation just to say, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. People want to feel appreciated for the work they're doing, regardless if they're the #1 rep or they're the last place rep. They want to feel appreciated. And when you express a level of gratitude, people tend to want to stick around a little longer. Well, that's what I got for you today. To increase that level of Salesforce retention, development, vision, gratitude. I'm Anthony Garcia. Thanks for joining me on the blog this week. I'll see you next week.